Hello, Collective. Wendy Joy, Love and Light. I wonder how many people are being faced with choices these days. How we migrate, where we put our mindset, the direction in which we take, the lessons that we seem to find the value in, and how we perceive life to be, as well as how society seems to be leading others in the direction of technology, right? So we've got a lot of choices that we make during our life. And what we also have are outside influences that could be very low and dense and negative, that are imposing different views upon the masses, or upon the majority, or upon the many, depending upon what situation you might be involved with currently. Because not every situation is on a grand, massive level. Although, when we turn on the news station, it doesn't really paint a picture that there's any type of disarm, or dismay that might be going on within our outer environment. But our intuition, our visions, our visual understanding, right? Because we all have a mind, and we all have the ability to process, and we all have the ability to view what we witness in the manner in which we are led. So there's a group of people or energy that could very well be leading others just as well, as there's a bunch of other energies that are looking to be led, right? And then there are higher evolved energy that can see the greater picture and can sit above it all and kind of get a bird's eye view of what others may be unable to see because of their limited view. And that's not saying anything is right or wrong. That's just saying that there's polarization, and it seems to be more lately than in the past. And when I see polarization, I see energy opposing other energy. And there's really no good reason why, except maybe they're looking to be led to what they think or they perceive their promised land is. Okay. But the other energy, the higher evolved energy, right? Maybe like you or me, right? Understand that you can't be led by another and follow an action or even a reaction that's infiltrated by energy that wants to hold you down and keep you low. So now when you're faced with choices, you have more choices. You have more things to think about and to consider. And when you include how the world is advancing with modern technology, right? Maybe even as a starting point, because what once was hard to find or took effort to achieve, right? Like you had to go to the library, you had to go to the card catalog, you had to find the books that were on the topic that you were looking to receive the knowledge and the wisdom of, or the clarity within, right? But then you didn't stop at one book, you gathered like 5 or 6 on the same topic just to see if the information that's being relayed to you is consistent over a group of different platforms. Well, modern technology condensed all of that by putting a computer with the ability to gather that same information and retain it and keep it at a thumb's touch, if you will. And I don't mean a finger, I mean a thumb. And then that same platform, algorithm, computer-generated, intellectual, or intelligent device, whatever you want to consider, AI to be, right? It now gives you the information that it used to take you maybe hours to find, and it gives you this information almost immediately. But what it's not doing is giving you the other sources that you could have been referencing in order to check your information, to be certain of the validation of what it is that you're being knowledge filled, right? That you're learning. There you go. So that could be good, that could be bad, depending upon, if you're happy with the first answer that you're given, or if you're looking for more depth to try to understand, where maybe different translations of the same type of, energy could have been interpreted differently by, people perceiving. That's research, just so you know. And AI doesn't do all that and hand it to you readily. It gives you a synopsis. Okay, that's fine, right? I guess that's easy information, if that's what you're satisfied with. But someone who's seeking more enlightened or connected information, if you will, more on a truth-based, higher perception, higher view, where you could see it all happening, right? You're looking down. So as you're seeing the ability to receive information quicker, although it could be, geared toward one specific perception, right? It also takes a lot of energy for that to occur, which means that when you're seeking information at your fingertips, and even I was guilty of this until I figured it out, but the resources that are needed in order to keep the information acquired and safe, right, in the atmosphere, the energy, in the vibrations, in the production or the facilitation, if you will, of obtaining this knowledge, takes an awful lot of energy. Just like it takes energy for you to think and to process and to understand, it also takes energy for AI to generate, right? So now you have to choose what's important to you, to let another source give you one perception, or understand that the resources that it takes in order to give to you that one perception could very well be depleting what it is that you need in order to live, and to live healthy, to live happily. Now let's go to the second one, right? Which is, oh, by the way, AI cools itself off with natural, fresh drinking water. Your drinking water. My drinking water. Just like the stuff that's dumped in the sky, right? They say one thing or another and make you feel that there's, grander design for maybe seeding the clouds or adding, the toxins to the atmosphere by housing warehouses that generate smoke and smog, right? Those are pollutants, and those are, generated every day because technology said that it would make life easier. But now your air is disgusting. So where does that leave a higher evolved energy to witness? The destruction of the air and the natural, healthiest, most beneficial resource, second, water. You can't live if you can't breathe. And you can't live if you don't have nourishment for your body. So now we have a society that has bad air and the threat of no water, which also, has everything to do with how plants grow, how the ground gets nourished, what is going into the ground. Now, if you're looking at just the rain to fix everything, don't. Because the rain is formed in the clouds, and the clouds are way high up in the atmosphere. So the clouds are water droplets that are held, that form the cloud structure, right? And depending upon how heavy those water droplets within that cloud formation gets is whether or not it rains. Now, what's being brought from the ground up to the top? What's being sent to the top? Pollution, toxins. So what's being rained down on us? Polluted water. So what's going in the earth? Polluted water. So inevitably, what are we consuming? Polluted water. Polluted, toxin-filled matter, plant matter. Now, understand that our plant structure, our trees and stuff, they work tirelessly every single day, all day long, all night long, helping to fix what's wrong. There's plants that rejuvenate the ground. There's different things that the roots of the trees can provide, communication to the other plants. There's a whole world underneath the ground. But that leads me to you and me. So when you look at you and me, and we're facing the same trials and tribulations on a smaller scale as a human, as the earth is, because of the direction of the choices that others may have made, whether it was a long time ago, it was just yesterday, or it might even be choices of tomorrow. You need to understand that in order for the earth to be healthy, in order for you to be healthy, you need to work with the earth. You need to work with the atmosphere. You need to respect the benefits that Mother Earth offers every single one of us. And not so that we could harness and use man-made, because keep in mind, construction, it takes a man to make it. Yes, a man thinks it, or a person, an energy, because there are women too. So it takes a person to think about something. It takes a person to initiate that. It takes a person to push that. And it takes other people to follow it. So, yes, in a sense, we did at our hand, whether past, present, or future, initiate the choice into making it a seeable, doable, tangible thing. But Did we know what we were doing? Or were we following blindly what another energy was leading us to believe was in our best interest in order to soothe, modernization, being modern? Not everybody having to farm their land. Not everybody, being a horsesmith, like a horseshoe person, like working with metal. Not everybody doing like specific trades that would help the community strive, but take it all away and then outsource it and then, sit back and watch all the havoc that unrolls. And that's where we are today. So instead of arguing about it or pointing fingers or letting that thumb hold us down, let's break free and let's go to basics and let's learn how to take back our sovereignty. And let's start by honoring our body with the choices that we make, and honoring the best way to honor our body is to honor our planet. We live here, and we can't go any other place. Not today. Not unless you leave your 3D form and decide that you're done. But what kind of existence is that? You still wouldn't have achieved the goals that you came here to do, or to make the changes and implement the positivity within the movements of love and light. And that's what the bulk of us are here to do. The bulk of us are here to do is to shine light, to offer encouragement, to stand tall, to move, and to work within a loving, compassionate space where we help our planet, and we help ourselves, and we help our neighbors, our community, all within the same effort of being respectful, responsible, and making choices that don't benefit one or a small group, but choices that benefit a large group, in order to aid the ability for each one of us to independently travel our road, right, to higher understanding without stepping, suppressing, or hurting another energy or the earth, which is also energy, so you know. Our Creator created all of this, and it's energy, and there's different forms of energy and different reasons why lower dense energy was placed here, and that was so that we would rise above it, and we would be able to see that choice doesn't have to be self-serving. Choice really does uplift and interconnect and unify, right? Unite all energy on a level, loving playing field. So next time you're faced with the choice, stop and ask yourself, is it a self-serving choice, or does it have more depth? And is there more energy that could be affected or effected or infected? However you want to look at it, how is it going to end? You have the ability to think a little bit ahead. So before you implement that choice, think a little bit ahead and see how it's going to pan out. And if it's going to be, something that is going to take effort, positive, loving, continual, consistent, then that's where you should go. Because not only does that keep you grounded and focused in the present moment, but it also helps you make clearer decisions that benefit the majority, not just the one. And I'm always here. We can always talk. We can always work it out. And I will be the first one to encourage you to dig deep, to understand your depth, and really understand the choices and the decisions and the movements that you make within each decision that comes your way. Love and light, peace and joy, true clarity, true understanding, and true enlightened, higher perceptive perceiving of what's really going on in the world that you live in. And when you go to research, be mindful of exactly how much you're asking AI to do for you. So keep in mind that we were all gifted with one form or another of, creativity. If anything, our house, our astrology passes through different houses of creativity, and we incorporated it into our blueprint through numerology. So you can't say that there's not creativity within you. So instead of allowing another force create it for you, step into the world. Step into your world. Step into your play. And you be the master and create from start to finish without the help of outside influence directing and telling you how tall or how short you actually are, because you're endless. And the opportunities, they are positive, and there is no limitation when you perceive in the highest vision, the highest quality, and then you move in that manner. Sounds a little like too many steps, but really it's not. It all comes down to choice. So choose well. I know you got this. But I'm here. So reach out. Don't be shy. I don't bite. Not at all. Maybe nibble. I'm only kidding. Love and light.